For the next 5 weeks, I'm going to be backpacking through Africa. It's my first time to sub-Saharan Africa, and it's a part of the world I have been dreaming of exploring my whole life. I'll be starting with 10 days in Cape Town, and then driving overland through South Africa, Namibia, Botswana, and ending at Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe. Then I'll be taking you on a wild 3-night camping safari in Zimbabwe's Hwange National Park. Along the way, there will be adventures,
can't help but feel like we're racing towards our dad,
laughs, and once-in-a-lifetime moments I cannot wait to share.
1, 2, 3.
So join me as we go exploring deep into the heart of Africa. As most adventures do, this South Africa journey started with a trip to the airport where I was flying from Seattle, making a quick stop in London,
Spending the night in Amsterdam.
and then checking out KLM's business class suites on an 11-hour flight from Amsterdam to Cape Town. We had great food and beverages, ample legroom, and a lie-flat seat. Time for a nap. We landed well after sunset, and I said goodbye to business class and hello to the mother city. Made it. Well, it's not exactly the nicest first day in Cape Town, but I'm here at, I think this is called Sea Point. Smells like kelp and seawater. Also, that's a windswept tree. Being from Seattle, my first mission was to find some coffee. Surprisingly, this coffee shop was across the street from my hotel. Okay, now we can get the day started. I jumped on the big red hop-on, hop-off bus to explore some of the main sights of the city. I've never done one of these buses, but it was a great introduction to get the layout of the city and the surrounding area.
Officially in Cape Town.
At about $20 US, this may not be the best purchase for a budget traveler, but was perfect for me. I was visiting in June, which is Cape Town's winter season, and the weather reflected that. I decided to skip Table Mountain since all you would see were clouds. But there were still beautiful views everywhere you looked. Then we made our way around the mountains to some beautiful beaches. So this is Camps Bay, and this may be one of the most beautiful places I have ever been. This is insane. You've got Lion's Head right there, 12 Apostles in the background, and then, of course, this beach, which is just like, it is insanely beautiful. And what's interesting is on the voice tour, they were saying that they basically had to pay people to come move here because it was too far away from the main town of Cape Town, which is wild to me. This place is awesome. The next day I went to Kirstenbosch National Botanical Garden. Tickets were 230 Rand or $12.50 US. And honestly, I was a bit skeptical of spending a day at a garden. But this place did not disappoint. Giant trees, beautiful walking paths, and even some funny-looking birds made it feel like another world. It's like I'm in Jurassic Park, but there's no one else here. Also, no dinosaurs. My inner suburban dad is showing. That is some real lush grass. Then I found the Canopy Walk and was shocked to find that I had it all to myself. Seriously, where was everyone? It's finally happening. We're in Jurassic Park. Shh, you gotta be quiet. I think I found one. It's real. They did it. They cloned dinosaurs. Let's see how close we can get to one of these dinosaurs.
A dinosaur. Nah, it's just metal. Welcome to Jurassic Park. Hunting dinosaurs is warm work. Making me sweat, guys. I'm gonna take a seat. I gotta imagine this place is just packed during the summer. But I'm here in, what is it, June? So it's their fall. I've seen like 6 people. I guess that just means I'm the king of this garden. All hail Spencer Townley. All joking aside though, this is supposed to be the 7th best garden in the world. And it's one of the most biodiverse flora areas in the world, something like that. I think I also heard that 60% of the plants here cannot be found anywhere else in the world. Plus, they got dinosaur plants.
The next day, the weather cleared up and I was able to do something I had been looking forward to the whole trip.
Spend a day at the Robben Island Museum, understanding the past.
The history of South Africa is turbulent with separation of races from the dawn of European settlers. In 1948, the South African government instituted a system of racial segregation and white supremacy known as apartheid. This was a devastating policy that inspired generations of resistance in which many dissidents were sent to the prison on Robben Island. Nelson Mandela was one of the key figures of the opposition to apartheid and was jailed on Robben Island for 18 of his 27 years in prison, before being freed in the 1990s and later receiving the Nobel Peace Prize and becoming the president of South Africa. This was his jail cell for 18 years. They have an ex-political prisoner lead you through the jail, and some of what he was saying was pretty upsetting, to be honest, like about torture and how terrible the conditions were. He was there from 1984 to 1989, I think. But Mandela was here for 18 years, and another 9 years of his jail time was served at 2 other jails. Ah, man. People do terrible things to one another. It was time to finally get out of Cape Town and jump into the water. I joined a great white cage diving experience 2 hours south of Cape Town in Gansbaai. The sun was shining, the water was flat, and we'd boarded the vessel. It seemed like a perfect day to get eaten.
I can't help but feel like we're racing towards our dad.
After a 20-minute boat ride, we arrived in the middle of what is known as Shark Alley. The crew set up the cage while we donned the provided wetsuits. I had been nervous for a week leading up to this, but when it was time, for some reason I was the first one in the water.
What are we doing?
We were lucky enough to have some good-sized bronze whaler sharks show up to play with us and get our adrenaline flowing. But sadly, there aren't many great whites in the famous Shark Alley anymore. It was still a blast though, and I was even able to go in a second time. After swimming in the ocean, covered in fish guts all day, the 2.5-hour ride back to Cape Town was pungent, to say the least. I literally could not have planned this better if I tried. I got back from cage diving with sharks like an hour ago, and what's on TV? The Meg. If I had seen this last night, I'd probably be freaking out.
Been a bit rainy, but I think the sun's trying to peek out. This is what $60 a night will get you in Cape Town, South Africa.
All right, if you're wondering where to stay in Cape Town, I've got you covered. I highly recommend the Station House in Sea Point. This brand new hotel looked incredible, had great security, a rooftop pool that overlooked the ocean, a comfortably furnished business lounge that I definitely made use of, a fully equipped gym that I definitely did not make use of, and it even came with a daily credit of $30 US to spend on breakfast at the cafe downstairs, Sunny and Irene. And this cafe was so good. And on top of all that, the room was great. With modern amenities, AC, a microwave, everything you could have asked for, along with ample storage and a beautiful bed. I will say there was one downside while I was staying there.
I can't tell if they're building this or tearing it down. I'm gonna go with building it. Anyways, it's pretty loud. And that's right outside my hotel room. This is a super, super nice hotel. And if it wasn't for that, this would be an 11 out of 10. But for now, I'm gonna have to give it like an 8. No fault of the hotel.
Cape Town is surrounded by mountains that are just begging to be scaled. Most people take the tram up Table Mountain, but the adventurous among us hike Lion's Head.
All right, so it's just about noon and getting started on the hike up to Lion's Head. I've read it's about 5.5 kilometers. It should only take like 2 hours, and it is completely out in the open, and your boy didn't bring any sunscreen. This is like a spiral trail, so you get every angle, both the city and the mountain. Why is it called Lion's Head? Well, the Dutch apparently thought it looked like a sitting lion or some sort of sphinx, so they named it Leuvenhoop or something like that in the 1700s. And you know what's crazy is I've been here almost a week, and this is the first time I'm actually seeing Table Mountain. The weather's been not cooperating. All right, so we've been going for about 25 minutes now. Gotten to these rocky steps. We're going right there. I think this is where the hard part starts. All right. Not gonna lie, this is the first time I've ever done a ladder on a hike.
There were some sketchy parts of the trail that freaked me out just a little bit. There are even chains and staples to hold on to while on the trail.
No big deal.
To make sure you don't fall off the side of the mountain. The views kept getting better, but the mountain kept pushing my fear of heights.
Oh, Jesus.
This ladder, for example, seemed to be on the edge of a cliff. There were a bunch of times where I thought about turning around.
Almost there.
But I'm happy I didn't.
Made it to the top. It's 1:24, which means it took an hour and 17 minutes to get up here.
But it was an hour and 17 minutes well worth it. With incredible 360 views of Cape Town, Sea Point, Table Mountain, and the vast expanse of ocean.
Here's the fun part. What goes up must come down. Okay, this is gonna be fun. I'm optimistic.
If I thought it was sketchy on the way up, I was really pushing my limits on the way down.
So a lot of people hike this for sunrise or sunset. I could not imagine going either up or down in the dark. That would be real freaky. I understand why all the blogs and websites say that you should not do this alone. A little bit freaky, you're on the edge of a cliff, kind of dangerous. I thought it was mostly because of bandits getting mugged or something. But I think it's really because this could be a very dangerous trail. All right, getting to some regular flat hiking. You can actually see Table Mountain. Means you can see all of the 12 apostles, of which there are 17. And that, my friends, is how you hike Lion's Head. Made it. Today we're on a guided tour all the way from Cape Town down to Cape of Good Hope. We're going to stop and see some penguins along the way. But first we started in the colorful neighborhood of Bo Kaap. Then we made our way out of town, heading south. We stopped at Muizenberg and hopped on a boat to check out Seal Island. This was easily the most seals I've ever seen in my life, all in one place. But apparently, this was low season. It was hilarious watching them waddle and slide into the water, but once they were there, they were super graceful. Not so much while they were on land.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
We continued heading south around False Bay.
Made it to Simonstown and Boulders Beach, where there's just a bunch of penguins hanging out. Let's go see some penguins.
Simonstown is just a 40-minute drive from Cape Town and famous for having these African penguins.
So the penguins are pretty cool. There's not a ton of them, but maybe that just is the time of year that I'm here, or the time of day. It has to do with the tides, maybe. And there are a lot of people. We timed it pretty good and got here when there weren't that many people, but then all of a sudden, everyone showed up. Anyways, penguins are pretty cute. That being said, they do smell really bad. And this is the nursery where they have all the babies. It seems like people spend about 30 minutes here and then make their way on to probably the Cape of Good Hope or back to Cape Town. I mean, there isn't a whole lot to see. There's some penguins, and then it's time to go.
We stopped for lunch where I had a delicious plate of ostrich carpaccio. After leaving Simonstown, our driver shared with us the most spoken language of South Africa, isiXhosa.
Anybody want to try that?
No.
So in isiXhosa, my dearest guests, you will notice that you can make the talking can easily turn to singing, clapping to dancing. It all goes together.
And just like that, we arrived at the Cape of Good Hope in Table Mountain National Park. This is the southwesternmost point of the African continent. The park fee is pretty steep at 400 Rand, or almost $22 per adult. We stopped at the famous photo location and wandered around a bit, and made our way up a funicular to the Cape of Good Hope's old lighthouse to get incredible views.
Funicular crash. Antarctica, designed in 1857, designed in 2024.
Then it was time to head back to Cape Town, but not before we spotted some baboons. If you've watched this far, you clearly have an interest in Africa, and I have a bunch of videos about Africa coming up. So like this video and subscribe for more videos on my journey through Africa.